connections. Develop good relationships with family members and friends. Accept help and support. Become active in organizations and help others. That's a really good one.
That is a big one, 100%.
I feel like people need a sense of community, a sense of belonging, especially when we are in an isolated world right now. So find some community, friends, loved ones, surround yourself by them.
I mean, like you sneeze now and people look at you like you got the cooties or something. I don't know. Yeah. But okay, so
number 2
before you go to number 2, this year, at least in my bucket list, I want to be a little bit more, like I said, mindful. But other than mindful, I push this a lot, and I've said it many times. But like there is a lot of things to be said about grace and gratitude, and I really feel like if you miss something from your life, and I don't know where I heard that, but I really feel it's true. If you miss something, love, money, attention, whatever it can be, give it, And when you give it, it's just like you're opening the doors to receive what you miss. So by helping others, if you need help, or by like becoming more active and supporting somebody, it comes back to you a full circle. So whatever you like miss from your life, maybe start giving, and then you will definitely receive, I feel like.
Yeah, that's good. Number 2, avoid seeing crisis as an insurmountable problem. Change how you interrupt the negative event. And we kind of talked about that already. Reframe what happened from a disaster to an opportunity for growth. Look to the future, which we kind of mentioned right now, like, and Alex said too, like using this pandemic to your advantage any way that you can. Don't look at the negative side. Look at the positive side. Like, hey, this gave me an opportunity to get closer to my kids. Or this gave me an opportunity to read all the books that I wanted to read. Or this gave me, I know this year, which I'll tell you in a little bit, but I saved a lot of money. And you know why? Because nobody was going anywhere.
Exactly.
We were stuck in this house. So just like change things like to your
What are you going to do with all this money?
No comment.
Okay.
Moving on, or do you have something to say?
You're absolutely right. Like sometimes in the middle of things, like as they happen, and it can get very overwhelming. And once you're at this point, you might not think clearly. You might like take it bad decision after bad decision after bad decision, and this never leads to a good place. So sometimes it's good to take a pause as well, like take a pause, take a deep breath, and really think like, okay, whatever happened in whatever the circumstance is, but take a moment to compose yourself and be like, you know what, I've moved towards this direction for a while, but it's time for me to start building some traction the other way. So definitely don't get overwhelmed, but even if you do, the sooner you press the pause button, the faster you can get yourself out of the hole you dug yourself into, What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
So
do you want me to read number 3? Or do you want to read it?
I'll just read the first 6 so you can read the rest.
Okay, boss.
So accept that change is a part of living. Accept the circumstances, that can't be changed, as well as the changes that are inevitable. So just like Alex, just to piggyback of what Alex just said, just if you can't go in one direction because you can't control life, look around where you can gain traction. Do what you can do, and just accept the things that you can't do, because you can't control life and what happens. Number 4, move towards your goals. Accomplish something, even if it's small, which we talked about a lot already, that enables you to progress towards a goal.
So I feel like once we do the podcast, I think we will put this like somewhere here in the screen so you guys can read them with us. What do you think? That's going to be a good idea, right?
Maybe.
Okay, so you can incorporate this in the whole video. For you guys that you hear the audio version of this, well, we can maybe include a PDF. You guys can have this in a form where you can read it. Anyway, so what's the next thing?
So number 5, take decisive actions. Take actions rather than succumbing to defeat. And that's a little bit like what I talked about with last year. Like, I decided that I wasn't going to think that I'm not going to be able to do anything, that I'm just going to become a couch potato, and, me and my kids, we're just going to wave out this wave and just wait for things to change. No, we took action. I took action. We both did.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided that we were going to make the most out of our predicament.
I agree 100%. And other than that, which is totally true, another thing that's absolutely true is that you have to smash that like button down below if you are on YouTube, okay? Because that definitely helps.
Why don't you read 6 to 11 afterwards?
Okay, I don't have them numbered, but number 6 says, okay, look for opportunities for self-discovery, noticing growth, relationships, increased appreciation for the little things in life, the ability to cope. Okay, well, this is something that's a little bit tied with something you just said a little bit. So, once not in a big sector of your life that it matters to you, like in business or finances, or like your relationships might not be where you want them to be, it's really important to build some momentum with tiny successes, like, I don't know, I'm not a relationship expert, but like, for example, if you don't have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, like, maybe buy a flower and give it to somebody and do something nice without having an expectation, but like do something cute, something nice. Or if you don't, like, you want to grow your like income or something along these lines, put maybe a couple of dollars in a savings account and like take a little bit of action towards the direction you want to go. That makes you feel better, and you build some momentum with a tiny little bit of dopamine that gets released by doing these tiny things that, you and I, and too, but that it doesn't make a huge difference to put $2 in a savings account. But once you do it and that account is open, then you know that you have the account there and you can keep stacking it up because you make it a habit,
Mm-hmm.
So do that. Find something small to do that's gonna push you a little bit closer to the direction you wanna go. So look for these opportunities, and it says here like appreciation for life as well. Like, make sure that you appreciate life. That's the biggest secret somebody can give you. I'm so jealous of monks. Like, you see monks, they seem so happy. They literally got nothing except like a robe or something. And it's amazing,
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think that it's like somebody that found happiness within, and they feel so good, and so like they have this power in their eyes and they feel so content? It's envious, and sometimes we really, really lose sight of what's important, and it's very important to be mindful and appreciate the smallest things. What do you think?
I agree. I'm working. That's my New Year's resolution goal, which you will hear me say in a little bit. But to be more grateful, I got myself a gratitude book, and every morning I write down 3 things I'm most grateful for.
Am I one of those? Or?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. You're one of mine too. Okay, so it says here, nurture a positive view of yourself, develop confidence in your ability to solve problems. And 100%, that's so right. I cannot tell you how many times, other than doing small things, like, you have to believe that you can handle things and solve things, and you have to believe that whatever life throws at you, you have the strength, if you believe in God, that God will make a way and that you can break through. Because the moment you believe that you cannot, that life is against you and that you cannot handle it anymore, is the moment you lose, and it's the moment that if you're like late in life and like I feel like you're 80 or 90 years old and like things start breaking down, the moment you lose your will to live is the moment your whole system starts breaking down and you move towards death. Like, you have to believe that you can handle everything life throws at you. Like, you have to be able to like build this self-confidence that you can handle anything that comes your way. Because, like, ask yourself, what's the alternative? Like, go under the sheets and cry and like disappear from the world and like live in a tiny box? Like, there is no other way. You either get it all or get nothing. And that's number something. What number is that?
Yeah, and just to add to that too, how you build that confidence is with the small things that you accomplish first.
100%.
The more you accomplish small things, the bigger your confidence is going to boost. And I know that from personal experience and also just from what studies show. The small accomplishments lead to your own self-awareness, your own self-confidence, and identity. So
Very good. Okay. The other thing is it says keep things in perspective. Consider the stressful events in the broader context of life. Yeah. So like what this means is like it's a drop in the bucket. Whatever happens, it's a drop in the bucket. Like if you're in high school and then your sweetheart left you and you feel it's the end of the world, well, it isn't. You know, if like whatever, you got fired that from a job you don't like, but it pays well, it's not really a loss. But in the moment, like we said before, it might feel like something that's really, really, really dark and heavy on your heart. But trust me, believe that you're gonna look back at this and laugh at some point. And yeah, it's a drop in the bucket. What do you think? Don't you think that big things or small things sometimes seem like the big things in the moment?
oh yeah, most definitely.
Okay. Do you have anything else to say about this?
No, think you said
Okay.
just fine.
Maintain a hopeful outlook. Good things can still happen in your life. Visualize what you want rather than worrying about what you fear. Okay, I'll let you answer that and then I'll add to it.
I really like this one.
Mm-hmm.
I really do.
Me too.
Because especially in a time like this where, especially when things were changing, the first thing anybody's going to do is react in fear because it's a change and you don't know what's going to come of that change.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that if anything, you should do what this is telling you to do. Visualize what you want rather than what you're concerned about. Like, well, I can't go out anymore. So, how am I going to spend time with my kids because I can't go to the movies? Well, change it. Have a play date in your living room. Make the living room your movies,
Yes.
or like,
Especially if you already pay for Amazon Prime.
or now homeschooling. Like, I don't know how to raise these kids, teach these kids, maybe raise them too, let alone teach them. But ask yourself, well, how am I gonna do this? Like, don't fix your focus on your fear because you will become, I feel like stunned, like you will become frozen, like you wouldn't know how to react to that situation. But if you visualize what you want rather than being disabled by your fear, then you're gonna be able to keep moving.
I was watching an interview of a NASCAR driver. Like the drivers that they drive really fast in a circle, and once you go into the process where they teach you how to drive, and they tell you that at some point you'll spin out of control and somebody's gonna crash onto you or a crash is gonna happen, and then there's gonna be a lot of things that you're gonna hit. So they tell you that in order for you to get out of that spin, you gotta focus on where you wanna go, and then maybe there's gonna be some lag time, but if you see the wall on your right, stop focusing on the wall because you're gonna crash onto the wall. You gotta focus on where you wanna drive the car to go. And I feel that's a good metaphor for what you just said. Like, you gotta focus on where you wanna go instead of the wall. Because if you focus on the wall, guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna hit the wall.
Yeah, that's good.
So you're gonna definitely try to, even if nothing goes well in your life, and I bet like you've been in places and I've been in places like this, even if you have nothing to hold on, make sure to focus on where you wanna go. Or maybe find somebody that has the life that you wanna live, and like ask them questions, or find that light in your life, because there is some life and some light. Do you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Okay. Another thing, it says take care of yourself, exercise, eat well, and participate in activities you enjoy. So what do you have to say about that?
I think I am definitely pro take care of yourself. We both like to exercise and eat well and and we both keep ourselves very preoccupied to, again, I think I mentioned taking care of my mind, my body, and my spirit, you know, just me as a whole. And I have learned that eating well definitely, you know, it plays a factor on how you feel within. And we'll talk about that in another podcast.
Oh, already a plug already.
And exercise.
Okay.
And I guess, you know, the reason why we're saying to make goals is to incorporate activities with the pandemic still going on, so that way you can remain healthy. So
this is so important. I feel like this is where everything starts. Disease starts from the way you eat, stress, a big one, starts from the way you eat, the way you exercise, the way you breathe. I feel like this is a very big fundamental of how you live your life. And this is such a big important part of how you feel. And I feel how we feel determines a lot of what we do, how we treat people. So if you have a New Year's resolutions, I bet you you have exercise, losing weight, and all this long, like everybody. But my piece of advice would be forget about the numbers and forget about how much weight you have to lose or how much bigger you want to look, and focus more on how can you make this sustainable in a way that's enjoyable, healthy, and makes you feel good. You know, just forget about the numbers. I feel like, and it's good to measure things. I'm not saying don't measure things, but I feel like you hit a number and then you're done. Like, you have to make it a lifestyle. That's the biggest takeaway here. Make it a lifestyle, make it healthy, and make it tasty as well. Like, you cannot be just eating steamed broccoli every day. Like, it just doesn't work like this. Make it tasty and fun. And there is a lot of ways, and nowadays with Instagram and all these influencers, there is so many options of how to cook healthy meals, tasty meals. You know, it's just unbelievable. So if you don't do it, it's not because the resources are not out there. It's because you're stuck in your old ways. So back to the thing, just ask yourself better questions of how can you improve that. Anyway, that's a little bit of a ramble, but it is what it is. And okay, let me go back to my trusty notes here. Okay, and then the last thing I have here, it says do other things you think would be useful. Write about it, meditate, or find spirituality. So you are definitely more of a spiritual person than me, I would say. So give us your takeaway from that, and I'm gonna reply like the average Joe here.
So spirituality is definitely a big identity for me. I'm a Christian, and I find comfort in God. I find comfort in knowing that there's a higher power that is in control of it all. And I find comfort in knowing that I could take that stress off my shoulders, that there is a God up there, and whatever God you believe in, or any higher power, you should confide in it too, because it takes that stress off, because you can't control life. You are not that higher power. So, you know, when you surrender your problems and your fears and your doubts to this higher power, you release that stress, you know, that fear that, like I said, paralyzes somebody. And so I think if you are not spiritual, definitely do something that is your spirituality. Like maybe writing in a diary, maybe that's comforting to you. Meditating, doing some kind of activity that you're just going to release all the stress that accumulates from just your daily routine. You know, just find something.
Yes, I agree. Feeding your soul, it's something that it's where this belongs. You know, it's just sometimes, like, if you look at people's schedules, including mine, maybe yours too, I don't know, you tell us, there is not time in there at any point to feed your soul. There is time for there to feed your body. Maybe if you're into health and stuff, to exercise. Like, you feed your body, you make sure you schedule in a point, but there is no time for you to maybe hit pause and feed your spirit, or you know, feed your mind or your soul. So you gotta make it a point in any expression you find it's good for you to feed your soul. You know, this might be a sermon. I know that's what it is for you. Try to make time so you at some point can make sure that in your week or in your day you have some time alone, so you can find whatever connects you to your soul. You know.